Good morning, students. Today I'm going to continue the story The Enemy, which is written by Pearl S. Bach. Before starting the story, we should have the recap of the story. Sadao and his wife Hannah were standing on the veranda of their house. Suddenly, they saw a man crawling on his hands and knees at the doorstep. As they ran towards him to see who was there, they saw the stains of blood on the sand, and the man was wounded, and he was a white man with a yellow beard. Being an experienced doctor, Sadao gave first aid to the man and packed the wound with the sea moss, and the man cried in pain but remained unconscious. They were enough fixed. If they gave the shelter to the white man or the American in their house, they would be arrested, and if he was turned away, he would certainly die. After some time, they decided that they would carry the man into the house for treatment. The man would die if he not operated, as this was the Sadao's opinion. But the servant didn't cooperate, Dr. Sadao and Hannah. So Hannah cleaned his upper body and face with steaming water. From here we start the story. Sadao washed the man till his upper body was quite clean. Sadao put his instrument upon a sterilized towel as he decided for the operation. He began to wash the man's back carefully. Then he asked Hannah to give anesthetic if he needed it. But Hannah was not ready for that because she was not a medical student and she never done so earlier. After some time, Hannah choked and she clapped her hand to her mouth and ran out of the room. Sadao heard her hitching in the garden. This what happened because she had never seen an operation earlier. Sadao was absorbed in the operation and proceeded swiftly. After some time, Hannah came in and asked Sadao where the anesthetic. Sadao told her that she had to saturate the cotton and hold it near his nostrils. She had to move it away a little when he breathed badly. After saying that, Sadao got busy in the operation, and after a few minutes he felt the tip of some of his instrument strike against something hard. It was just near his kidney. Then, with a cleanness and the most precise incision, the bullet was out. This was the work of a brilliant doctor. The prisoner quivered means stirred, but he was still unconscious. Sadao gave him an injection, and the man's pulse grew stronger. Hannah had to serve the young man herself because none of the servant would enter the room. The man grew stronger day by day under the Sadao's supervision, but the servant decided to quit their master's house if he kept the enemy hidden there, because they were in perception that master wanted to help the American. On the seventh day, the servant left together. Hannah carried the morning food of prisoner. On coming back, she asked Sadao why they could not see clearly what servant ought to do. This was the question of Hannah. And in the afternoon, a strange thing happened. A messenger came in a official uniform. The messenger asked Sadao to come to the palace at once as the old general was in pain. When Hannah heard this, he breathed a sign of relief. When Sadao came to say her goodbye, she revealed her fear. She had thought that the messenger had come to arrest him. Then Sadao promised to get rid of that man for her sake. After reaching there in the palace, Sadao told General about the man he had operated upon. General said that you can save the life of anyone, but General acknowledged also why Sadao was indispensable to him. So he promised to send his private assassiness to kill the man and remove his body. Assassinus means a person who killed the person for the political reason. He asked Sadao to leave the outer partition of the white man's room to the garden open while he slept. After telling everything to General, Sadao went home thinking over the plan. He decided that he would tell Hannah nothing. When he reached home, he was surprised to see the young American out of the bed preparing to go into the garden. He started examine that prisoner. Then the prisoner complained that the muscles on one side felt stiff. Dr. Sadao at that time was not a patriot, not a Japanese, but he was a doctor. So he said that the exercise and massage will be helpful. He then asked Tom, the young American, to go bed and sleep peacefully. But Sadao slept badly that night. Next morning, Sadao went to the guest house and found him asleep. He was thinking that General had sent the assassinist over there. Then he thought second night will be the night, and second night also passed. The young man was still there. He had shaven himself and there was a faint color in his cheeks. Dr. Sadao told him that he was quite well then, and it is not hidden that prisoner means the American was there in his house. So he offered to put his boat on the shore that night. He would have food and extra clothing in it. Tom said that he was saving his life once again. And then Sadao asked him, no, he was saving his life. Tom and said that he might be able to row that little island not far from the coast. He had not been fortified. Nobody lived there as it was submerged in storm. Since it was not season of storm, he could live there till he saw a Korean fishing boat pass by. As soon as it was dark, Sadao made preparation to help the young man escape. He gave him flashlight. He asked him to give him 2 flashes as the sun set in case his food ran out. In case he was still there and all right, he was to signal him only one. was warned not to signal in dark, for it would be seen. The prisoner was now dressed in Japanese cloth. A black cloth was wrapped round his bald head. He found the way to the boat. Sadao waited till he saw one flash from the ship. This is the boat. Dr. Sadao had been called in the night to perform an emergency operation on General. It involved his gallbladder, and for 12 hours Sadao had not been sure that General would alive. Then he began to breathe deeply and again and to demand for food. Sadao had not been able to ask about the assassins. So far as he knew that he had never come. The servant had returned. The house was cleaned. 1 week after the operation, Sadao felt that the general was well enough to be spoken to about the prisoner. Sadao informed him that the prisoner had escaped. Now general was annoyed, and though he was hiding the talk, but he was annoyed, and he said that the doctor whether he had not promised to kill the man for you. He then confessed the truth. He had been suffering a great deal. So he thought of nothing but himself. Miss General was not thinking anything but only for himself, as he was severely ill, and told that he had forgotten his promise. So this shows that General was not able to send assassins in Sadao's house. So that night, when Sadao returned back to his house and waited at the dusk for the light from the island, there was none. His prisoner had gone away and was safe. Sadao wondered why he could not kill the young man, though white people were repulsive. Reason is that Sadao is a person who was made to save the life, not to take the life. Sadao was the combination of truthfulness, sentimentality, and he was be there in the American. He was a human first and follow the humanity first, then anything else. He was a doctor and taught by the Americans that one should take the wounded person only as their patient, not as an American, not as an enemy, and his first and foremost duty to give the treatment to the wounded body. These all the thing was there in the personality of Sadao. That is why he was not able to kill that American prisoner. That's all the story, children. I hope you are able to understand. Read the story well, and if you find any problem, you can discuss me. Thank you.